So now, in terms of your storytelling, where do you get inspiration from, and what kind of stories what kind of stories do you want to tell?
Yeah, I tell my stories, man. You know, like my experiences that I grew up with.
You're gonna tell me Saint Kate wants stocks?
Like a lot of people, like especially my family and friends, like they'll come to a show and they'll be like, and then after the show they'll be like, "Dickhead, why did you flippin' write that stuff for, Dick?" And I'll be like, then I'll pull up like maybe a review. I'll pull up a review and then they'll be like, "Oh, the reviewer might have wrote like, oh man, a lot of life lessons to be learned from this story." And I'll be like, "Docs, look, your story is a life lesson for people to learn, Tiana. You're a walking resource." But most of my cousins and my friends will be like, "Bro, why did you write?" So I always write what I know.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't write it like down to the T, you know. I wouldn't write it like exactly how it happened. I'm always like going, because I also understand it's like safety of my friends and family, you know. And also, it like comes down to like, say when you're recording, right? When you're recording, no one wants to be recorded that they don't know you know. If you don't know you're being recorded, that's the worst thing. But if someone goes, "Yo, I'm recording you," then you're kind of like, "Oh yeah, that's cool."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like that's how I kind of approach my writing. It's like I will write it how I see it, but I'll never write it from like what my man went through or how he experienced it.
But you change the names around, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So see, they don't know. You're not saying their name, but they know it's them.
They know.
And that's why they're telling you.
They know.
They're telling you about it.
Yeah. But also it's funny because like I did a bit of research like early on when I was at uni. I did some research about stories, and I found out that there was 7 archetypal stories in the world. Like there's 7 stories, and whatever story you tell, it's gonna fall in that 7 in the 7 categories. You
The
know?
hero, one of them?
Hero is one of them. The damsel in distress is one of them. The person that leaves home and comes back, that's another story. So there's like 7 stories.
There's one redemption.
There's the redemption story, yeah. So like whatever story you tell is gonna fall in that 7 categories, yeah. And so I always write the stuff that I went through personally. Yeah, I always use my own experiences. Yeah.
Because I never studied storytelling, but I know a little bit of it. Because I enjoy storytelling too.
Mm-hmm.
But Shakespeare, he was
yeah.
expert at storytelling. That's why he's always talked about, always in the school books. And he's forever been studied.
Yeah.
Hey, because he's like the man. He's like the Michael Jordan of plays and storytelling.
But like personally for me, right? Like, you know, I'm a working father, Polynesian from out west. The ones that resonate with me is about our own people.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Like every 9 times, like 10 times out of 10, man. Like, and a beautiful story is a beautiful story, especially when you know it.
Yeah.
Like first time I ever read a full book was like a story I heard, and I just heard the snippet of the guy selling his book, like to a church, and it was beautiful, man. Like, my daughter got the book out, I read it, but just reading it after hearing his introduction and like it's just like a small summary of his life.
Yo.
But man, it was like, man, that's powerful, way.
Yeah, man.
Because then what I've learned from him telling his story is like, and like being able to jump into this space, is to, man, give everyone the opportunity to do a digital one, you know?
That's it. Yeah,
and, man, that's why I always give flowers to camps, bro. Because like, bro, there's no one else here doing it.
Doing that, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hard.
There's no one else doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like important to get them, you know, get people come through and just share, man. Because, you know, time washes over and, you know, we get into the next phase of whatever.
Yeah.
The digital's not going to be erased forever.
No.
And it'll be a long stretch of like, you know.
Yeah.
Bites to freaking get rid of it.
Yeah.
And like, even if it does wash over and say we all disappear from this earth, someone's going to have watched it and be like, I remember that one.
That's it. Yeah.
That's when they're doing crumb dances to our stories about when you jumped on.
That's
Talking about the West Side parties.
That's it, man.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's why, like, again, like with stories, it's I believe that's how our culture survived, is through the continuous storytelling. So the continuing, like, keep doing the same dances, keep telling the same stories, keep singing the same songs. If we didn't do those things, I think culture would have died, you know? But through those things, that's how it's managed to exist and survive. And that's my thing. When I create theatre, I'm consciously making work that tells stories, but also has an element of dance and has an element of song in it. Yeah.
You know those 7 storytelling techniques you talked about?
Yeah.
Like, what's the most common one for telling Pasifika stories or our stories?
Identity. Who am I? Yeah. So that's one of the archetype stories. If you look at a lot of our stories, a lot of our Pasifika stories, it's always like, who am I? Like, where do I belong? Where do I fit in? Yeah.
Especially New Zealand born.
Yeah. That's always kind of like the tone of our of where we're at. But we're slowly we're changing. You know, we're changing, and I think that's where the people, like, whenever people change or like move away from the same thing, that's when people start going, hey, what's that? That doesn't belong in the same realm. Like, you're not doing Pasifika stories. And it's like, nah, this is just time is changing, you know? Yeah, so like, it'll be interesting to see where our stories start ending up. Like, if you look at like black culture and all, like, a lot of their successful stories always has to have like a gang element in it, you know what I mean? Always has to have a gang element in it. But like, slowly things are changing, and then people are going, oh, I don't know how to receive this. Like, what category does that fall under? Like, what genre is that? And it's like, hey, it's just the same story, but it's just a different facet of life, you know? So yeah, so slowly our things are going to go like that too, you know, because the experiences are changing. We're no longer how we were back then, like of our childhood, you know, and then our kids will start telling their stories, and we go, oh, so that's the new Pasifika thing, or that's the new Moana way, you know? Yeah.
There's been a push for, especially in New Zealand, for diversity in the performing arts, especially in media, especially in film and TV.
Yeah.
So they're trying to encourage more Pacific Island or Māori producers or directors or storytellers.
Yeah.
But then the flip side of that, I hear stories about there's a dark side of it. Like, it's like the people at the top, they're just doing it for diversity's sake. You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're just doing it to tick the box. Because it's the in thing right now to be to be diverse. Like, they don't really care about us.
Yeah.
They just need a brown face on the. Because I've heard stories about, even in Australia, how they're wanting all these Pacific Islanders to go be the brown face in their shows.
Yeah.
But they've got their own indigenous, but they don't want to use them.
Right.
The Aborigines, and they'll rather get the Islanders from here.
Oh,
or the Māoris from. It's that kind of mentality or that kind of thinking at the top. Like, have you experienced any? Like, it might be a little bit of racism.
Yeah,
it is if you think about it. Have you experienced any of that?
I haven't experienced it personally. But I've been like, so like when I write my stuff, all my stuff predominantly it's Tongan. Like I tell Tongan stories, you know, and I'm not ashamed to say that. But I use my culture as a way to get people to be aware of like why we do things, why Tongans do things the way Tongans do, right? So, I would cast for me, when I'm looking at actors and casting, I'm like casting people who can do the job. First and foremost, they can do the job. Yeah, I create Tongan stories, but it doesn't have to be a Tongan that's acting. Yeah, that's me. Like, I'm like, if you could be a Samoan actor acting as a Tongan, I'll be all good with it. You know, if you can do the job and you can understand my purpose and you can understand the story, man, you got the job. But then I understand why people are like, yo, but then you're undercutting, you know, what about the tacos? You know, the tacos need a job. And it's like, I'm after the best person that can do the job well. I'm not about like, come on, taco, take this one. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm not about that. So for me, it's about like the right person that can do the job.
That's solid, docs. That's just like the guy, the Tongan dude who I forgot his name. Who exes Dwayne.
Yeah.
Rock, hey.
Yeah, Uli.
He's the man. Hey.
He's the man. Yeah.
He's the man.
And I could understand too. Like, I would understand too. There's probably a Samoan actor going, man, stuff you. You know what I mean? But it's like, hey, who knows? Maybe Dwayne The Rock wants the right person for the job. I don't know. Yeah, but for me personally, that's how I do it. Yeah, but there's all a lot of questions that surround casting, like what you're talking about. It hasn't happened to me yet.
Yeah,
maybe one day it will happen to me, and I'll put up a massive post, and you guys will go, "Eh, I told you."